Support for this and all the shows on the Marketing Podcast Network is provided by ActiveCampaign. If you're looking for a way to grow your business, you need to check out ActiveCampaign. It's a powerful marketing automation platform that can help you increase your sales, improve your customer service, and build stronger relationships with your customers. With ActiveCampaign, you can create and send email campaigns, manage your leads and customers, create landing pages, set up automated workflows, and track your results all in one approachable platform. ActiveCampaign has over 10,000 five-star reviews on G2 from happy users. The Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago integrates Salesforce with ActiveCampaign to automate a thank you email to those who visit the museum, and in doing so, shares a form to gather their feedback. That then automatically triggers follow-up messages based on the feedback they receive, including returning to the museum for another visit. If you're serious about growing your business, you need to check out ActiveCampaign. Try it today for free and see how it can help you achieve your goals. For a limited time, ActiveCampaign is offering Marketing Podcast Network listeners a chance to double your contacts for free when you sign up at activecampaign.com/activate. That means if your email list has 10,000 contacts, you only need to pay for 5,000, or you can pay for the 10,000 and get an extra 10,000 totally free. Personalize your customer experience, but do it with automation just like 185,000 businesses have at ActiveCampaign. Go to activecampaign.com/activate to sign up today. That's activecampaign.com/activate. Terms and conditions apply.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am, as always, Seth, your loyal host and, host. I guess that's all I am, is your host. All I am is your host. Anyhow, today I have Ashton Rodenhiser. I think I said that correctly. She did put phonetically in the bio to me, so that I appreciate that. Ashton is an internationally acclaimed graphic recorder, meaning that she does doodles and for facilitation for meetings. She's worked with organizations like Microsoft, Amazon, Michelin, and various national and international brands. When I say national, I do not mean the United States. She's up in Nova Scotia, in the country, where it's a lot nicer up there, both people and sometimes the weather. Of course, right now I can't really say nice weather for Canada because it's all on fire right now. But anyhow, she's been doing this since 2013. She does workshops. She helps people learn how to do what she does. If you're looking at the video, which you can do in our clips, she has all these little faces on the wall, which is cool. So Ashton, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good, Seth. How's it going today?
Not too bad. So how does one get started doodling professionally?
It's a great question. I got into this field as a facilitator. So I was facilitating lots of different groups, and the transition wasn't too much of a leap because I had already had a lot of my listening and my thinking down. When people would say something in a room, I would feed back in words. So I just transitioned over into instead of feeding back in words what they just said, I'm now feeding back in pictures. And it's
so cool.
Interesting.
And
yeah.
so
and I'm very well connected with a lot of people who do this work all around the world because we're just like weird, tight-knit, interesting community. And everyone seems to come into this field in many different ways. So some people come more from a communications background. Some people come in from a fine art background. So there's no right or wrong way into entering this type of work, for sure. I'd always been very creative. I call myself a dabbler. And if you name an art medium, and I've probably tried it. I didn't actually draw a ton before starting this work.
But seriously, check out the show notes because her graphics are incredible. Her people are so cute, and they're expressionate and expressionate. Is that word expressionate?
It's all about the eyebrows, man. It's all about how you draw those eyebrows.
It is. So you start out as a facilitator. So what did you how did this whole thing start? Have you always been an entrepreneur? Have you worked for the man or the woman or the person beforehand? I gotta make sure that's gender neutral.
Yeah, I guess I did work at a family center. That's how I got into the field of facilitation. My formal education is an early childhood educator, so I worked in that field for a bit. I just when I was younger, I was a very good student. I probably could have went to any university, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I
Mhm.
was like, I'd always worked with kids, so I'm gonna do that. And I know I wanted to be a mother at some point. It's pretty
You
important
have
to
your own
me. So I was
herd.
like,
You have
well,
your own herd. Yeah.
I have heard. I just, yeah, I'm done. I've got three. Three is plenty of
3's
children
enough.
to
3's
take.
3's good. 3's right when
Three's
it gets
good.
inconvenient because the husband can take one and you can take one and you have one and this is what do we do with this one? So
Exact. Well, once
which
after we
one
had
has
two,
to
and
go?
we were like, what was I thinking? Like we are outnumbered now, but no, they're wonderful and amazing human beings. But
Are they drawers?
you know what? My 10-year-old is drawing a comic book right now, and I cannot take how amazing. Like I just, it's so amazing. They're called flower friends, and they like their little faces. I can't handle how cute this thing is. So I told her I'm
Taking
going to
after
help
the
her
mom.
redraw it on the computer, clean it up, and then maybe put it together as an actual book. So that's a project we're
Yeah,
going to
put it
work
on
on this summer
Amazon.
together.
Make them a published author. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um,
They're taking
I
after
I
their
had
mom.
I guess I didn't really think about it, but I did have very entrepreneurial tendencies growing up. Like I did sell things
Kinda
at like
sneaks
little
up on
craft
you. It kinda sneaks up on you
shows.
when you do that. Yeah.
It does, yeah, but I never really thought about it as an option for me for some reason. Like I never thought going in through high school and then into my 20s, I didn't even know it was a thing that I could choose, to be honest with you. I think it was just the more of a traditional career path was just like that's what you're supposed to do. So when you want to do this type of work, like no one's hiring full-time graphic recorders, graphic facilitators. I've only ever heard of a handful of companies that have hired full-time, and
Yeah.
so you're kind of forced into starting a business. And yeah,
That's wild.
so I was like, I guess if I want to do this, and when I decide to do something, I go in 100 million%, right? I'm like,
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
in it to win it. So I went to a conference in 2015 in Austin, Texas, with people from all over the world who do this type of work. And I was like, man, if they can figure this out, I can figure it out. Like if they can make a living making
Absolutely.
this, I can probably make a living doing this. So I left that conference. I was 7 months pregnant in Austin, Texas in July. And then after I had him,
Oh.
my second child, then it was about a year later, then I was like, okay, I'm going to really do with this and do it right and go
Good.
all in, and joined a co-working space and just did it and figured it out, sent thousands of emails, and the rest is history
Mhm.
basically. Yeah.
Rest of
Mhm.
history. That's awesome. So what is the
Yeah.
best thing about being an entrepreneur for you?
I want to be a bit cliche and say the flexibility, but I'm
Oh,
really bad
oh,
at
of
giving
course. You can be
myself
as
time
cliche as
off.
you want.
But I'm actually extremely, I was like, I was mad at myself recently. I was like, Ashton, you started this thing to have flexibility and you don't give yourself time off. You don't like, I'm actually
Mhm.
going on vacation tomorrow. I'm like, I need to actually have the flexibility, that part of the reason why I started this in the first place. But I do, most days I can walk down and get the kids off the bus. I do like that I can just roll out of bed and go into my beautiful studio that I've worked on over the years, and be in here and just do my thing. I do appreciate that. And that I'm not going to lie, I like that I can be like the master of how much money I make. That's pretty nice.
Mhm.
It's very scary sometimes when you have a month that's a little on the, sad side. But I'm definitely a kind of a quote unquote hustler in a sense. I don't like hustle
Good.
culture, but I'm a bit of a hustler. When I'm like when the pandemic hit, I was like, I don't care. I worked
Yeah.
hard to get to this point. I'm not going to let a little thing like a pandemic slow me down.
A
So,
little thing like a pandemic. I love it.
so I
That's the
like
way to frame
pivoted
it.
my business model on the fly, and it was like,
Yeah.
basically acted like how I acted years prior. It was like, I got to figure this out. Yeah, I like that I can manage my own destiny when it comes to
I
how
like that.
I have my time set up, how I manage things. But I am a bit of a workaholic. I am, but I
But you
do
kind of have to watch. You kind of
appreciate
have to
it.
watch that. Yeah, as an
I
entrepreneur, you
know I
kind of have to
do. It's
watch that.
awful. I'm really trying to be protective of my time this summer. Yeah,
Well,
for
especially
sure.
during the summer, the kids are the kids in camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're with my husband right now because we're getting ready for our
Oh,
vacation tomorrow. But
I know.
it's very
Well
exciting. Go
deserved.
see my family. Yes, yes. I just launched a book last week because why not? Like,
Oh,
let's
why
launch a book
not?
before
Why not?
that I'd been working on for a year and a half. Is let's just launch this book. But part of me was like, I just want to get it out there, and then when I get back from my vacation, then I'll figure out how
Then
to
you'll market
market
it.
it. Yeah.
So soft launch it. That's what we call soft launch.
Yeah, and follow this. So, like the philosophy that I used to write this book, part of it is a launch year, not a launch day. So when I
I
get
like that
back,
idea. I like
I'm
that.
going to actually map out what my launch year looks like,
That's
and
good.
plan things for the next 12 months of things that I'm going to do to help get the book into the world. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
wild.
yeah, and I
That's
did the whole
exciting.
beta reading process. Like I had 82 beta readers. I did 3 rounds of beta reading. It was like quite a process. It was quite an interesting process that I undertook to write this book.
Ooh,
So yeah,
that's exciting. We'll have to put the
yeah,
link in the show notes. You have to email me that, and we'll put that in the show notes. If it's there's an
I
Amazon
will. Yeah,
link
it's
or a
called The
bookstore.com.
Beginner's Guide to Sketchnoting. So anybody
Ooh,
who wants
I
to
like
sort of
that.
learn how to draw your own notes, it's like really lean in on the beginner word because it's really for people who may or may not know how to draw but want to
I feel
like
like that's
get some of the
needed.
value. Yeah, it
That's
is.
wild. So what keeps you up at night besides the kids?
Um, I think I guess part of me with the book, I'm trying to shake up my business model a little bit,
Mhm.
because I think that's the biggest thing that keeps me up at night. With up until this point, my work has been predominantly time sensitive. So, hey,
Mhm.
I have a conference,
Literally,
and
literally. Like you're literally in the conference drawing
yes,
live. So it's kind of time sensitive. Yeah,
exactly.
a little bit.
This is just a little bit. But I really, really struggled with, like there's my busy seasons, May, June, September, October, November. Like those are the busiest months out of my year, and I
Mhm.
can't even keep up those months. But then like in the wintertime, in the summertime, which is okay this summer to try to take some time off, but it's a
Yeah,
little bit more
winter in
quiet.
Canada.
So
Yeah, shouldn't be. You
yeah,
need stuff
everyone
to
just
do in
wants
the
to go
winter.
to sleep in the winter. Like no one's having
I
conferences
don't know,
in
hibernate.
December, right? So,
Go
this sort
south.
of all or nothing kind of like, when it's conference season, I am working until 3 in the morning, but when it's in the middle of winter, it's like it's quiet. So I think that's the thing that I really struggled with, what kind of keeps me up at night when I have like such big swings of work. It's like I'm really, really busy, and then I don't have time to like follow up with people or market myself. But then when it's in a
Yeah,
lull, it's like, oh man, I wish I had time to actually work on my business 2 months ago. So it
not
actually have
not
work
in
right
your
now
business.
because
Yeah. Hmm.
in versus on, all of that. Yeah. So yeah,
Exactly.
I'm pretty, actively working to try to change that and add in different streams so that the lulls, they're really, it's like it's a little bit more of an
They're not
even
as
keel
painful.
because
Yeah.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
even with the pandemic, like I was actually 100% in person before the pandemic. So I really had to switch everything
Wow.
to working
Talk about a
online.
pivot. Yeah.
Yeah, just totally changed sort of that, but I still put all of my eggs in the conference basket. I still was like, well, that's what I know, and I know people are trying to do conferences online, so I'm just going to like,
Yeah.
like it's either online conferences or nothing right now. So I still continue
Hmm.
to put all my eggs in that conference basket. And
Yeah.
it's very
Are you
exhausting
hybrid
work.
now?
Yeah, I'm pretty hybrid right now. Yeah, I still do a lot from home, which I'm really grateful for, and I'm trying to do that more. Like I'm trying to be
Ah,
as remote as possible. But I have been doing more in-person stuff since the fall of 22. And
so
you
is that all?
can't beat in
Yeah,
person, like being in person and
yeah.
drawing. It's like it's a totally different energy. So I do love it when I can, but I am trying to balance. Like I want to be able to balance some of that and my capacity around that too. So
And you'll
yeah, with
go
the book
anywhere,
and
right?
yeah, like before the pandemic, I was all through the US. I was over in Europe a bit, all across
Wow.
Canada, like all over the place. Yeah, because where I live is so small. So
Yeah.
yeah, the market here
So
is
you get a
pretty
break from
small. So
you get a break from Nova Scotia, which is kind of nice.
yeah, I
And you
get a
can
break. I
come
love
back
it
and it's
here,
nice and
but
quiet.
exactly. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I appreciate a good city. I love visiting them, but I don't want to live in one.
What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
I think the most important thing that I carry with me all the time is my outlook on the world when it comes
Mm,
to, I believe that everybody can experience and benefit from creativity.
mm-hmm.
And that's sort of like my core philosophy. So I think that's what I carry with me in everything I
Love
do
it.
is my core philosophy that everybody is creative. And when someone says they're not, I'm like, no, yes, you are.
But
Everybody
you
is.
can't be,
It's just
yeah.
a matter of having an opportunity to explore that in a safe and a supportive way. Before I started
Absolutely.
my couple of years before I started my business, I started an art festival in my town. And it
Ooh,
was a project
you're definitely a
where
doer. You're definitely a doer.
I'm a doer. I am. I'm an overachiever, that's for sure. When I found out my blood type was A positive, I was like, of course it is. A plus. Of
Of
course
course.
it is. That art festival was like a community project disguised as an art festival because like the sort of
Mhm.
that philosophy because it was about allowing people to experience different forms of art in not just a traditional sense. So the
Mhm.
program was always developed by what artist came and said, "Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that." And I try to have a lot of interactive opportunities for people to make something, even if it's just like chalk
Oh,
on the ground or play
that
an
sounds like
instrument
fun.
or whatever. Because I feel like people can't appreciate not just the creativity in their art community around them, but if for themselves, if they don't have an opportunity to experience it for themselves. So I'm
Oh,
always like
right.
looking for different, and I feel like doodling is such a low entry, like a low
Mhm.
barrier to entry because most people have some sort of experience, maybe not with art or with drawing, but if you say
Mhm.
doodling, it's a totally different energy.
Mhm.
Right? You're like, oh yeah, when
Less
I was on the
imposing.
phone, yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, I got in trouble when I was a kid for doodling in my notebook or whatever. And there's studies now that say just doodling helps you retain information, not
And some of
even
these doodles are pretty
sketchnoting.
elaborate.
Yes, I just am trying to encourage people to put pen to paper. So
Mhm.
yeah, just going back to your question, like that's what I sort of carry through with me is like this
Love it.
this philosophy that everybody can be creative. You don't have to draw anything like I do. You
Mhm.
don't have to, it's not going to end up in a museum. Like you don't even have to show anybody, but you
Yeah,
can
it's for you.
use putting pen to paper or doing anything else creative to help you think, to help you learn. Like
Mhm.
we should be using art and creativity as a way to
Amen.
help us connect to our own ideas, to connect with people around us, right? And I think the pandemic did sort of uplift art in the sense of like, yeah, this, like, what are people doing in their homes? They're doing something, probably they're watching a movie. Like, people don't think about watching movies as art. It is, we're like
It's
surrounded
appreciating
by
art. Yeah.
creativity all the time. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just, I think it can be such a powerful way for people to connect with the world around them, to connect to their own self, their own ideas.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's something that I'm always like trying when I get a chance, like now, to stand on a soapbox and talk about it. That's what I like to
Absolutely.
talk
That's what this
about
is
the
all about.
most. Yeah, that's what I
Love
like
it.
to talk about the most because there's so, yeah, I feel like a lot of people too I encounter, they have a story, and it's actually the first page in my introduction of my book. of like, most people have a story where creativity was like squashed and they remember that, right? Mine
Oh,
was my grade 4
absolutely.
teacher telling me I couldn't, like, I was painting wrong. And I was like,
Oh,
I can't paint then, I guess, you know? And
yeah.
most people, like, I think I'm an anomaly where I was like, when I got older, I was like, no, I can do this any way I want. And that's why I fell in love with folk art, because folk
Yeah.
art, you don't have any experience. You paint with
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can find. Like, I really love that
Love it.
sort of idea with folk art. And yeah, but most people aren't necessarily going to do that. They're just going to have that experience, be like, well, someone told me. It was sort of squashed out of me at one
Yeah.
point, and I just never returned because I felt defeated and I felt like I couldn't do it. So, um, if you ask a child if they're an artist, they say yes, because they've never been
Mm-hmm.
told, that
They're
they're
not.
not
Mm-hmm.
an artist,
I love it.
right? So,
So
but could we
Ashton,
carry
yeah.
that through into our
Oh, it's
lives
absolutely.
yeah.
So where can people find you online if they want to learn more about Mind's Eye Creative?
Yeah, mindsedecreative.ca. .ca, because I'm up here in Canada. That's where
.ca
you
because you're
can.
in Canada.
.ca, yes. That's if you want to talk about like an event and you want me to live illustrate or something, like, do that. Or if you want to see all what this sketchnoting thing is about, which is drawing your own
Yeah.
notes, then you can go to sketchnote.school. And that I've got some
Ooh.
free stuff on there. My book is on there. I've got a community on
Nice.
there. There's a whole,
Oh, look at
and yeah, if
you.
you're, I know, look at me go. Yeah. And if you want to
Yeah.
learn, you want to read up on learning sketchnoting for yourself, how to draw, even if you don't know how to draw, I really handhold you through the whole process. So
Oh, that's
you can go to
great. Yeah.
sketchnote.school. Yeah, I'm
Good
pretty
use
easy to
of
find, I
the
think, on
suffixes.
socials.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a name, Ashton, which is easy. Then Rodenhiser. There's no Z.
Mhm.
Just so you know, there's no Z.
No,
It's
there is no, but yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm, pretty,
yeah.
because my name isn't super common, I'm pretty easy to find. So
Pretty easy to find. And then also it'll be in the show notes. So that's kind of helpful too. So if you wanted
right
these
on.
links, I'll have them in the show notes. That'll be a good thing. So Ashton,
Yeah.
this has been so great. I'm glad the internet held up for us too. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was so fun. I could have talked to you for an hour easily.
Well, we'll have to do it again sometime soon.
That'd
And
be
we'll see
fun.
everyone next time. That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but there are other great shows on MPN to help your business too. I'm Jason Falls. I host The Rise, the community commerce marketing show. There we explore an exciting new category of marketing strategy and automation focused on driving brand growth through your own community. So you start with your own customers, employees, followers, and partners and empower them to recommend and refer your brand. You can subscribe to The Rise, the community commerce marketing show at marketingpodcasts.net or by searching for The Rise, the community commerce marketing show, wherever you get your podcasts. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.